Yeah, good evening once again. This is Serge Bini as usual. So today we'll be talking about, as you know, I give you like more interesting topics every day. So today we'll be talking about how to hijack session hijacking, in other words. So let's use this book of CH module 11. So I was just trying to see what it is. So it's module 11, session hijacking. So what is session, right? So this session hijacking refers to attack in which attacker sees control of valid TCP communication session between two computers, right? So for instance, you can see we have a diagram. We have the victim and the web server here. So this is the normal user who is just surfing on the internet. You are visiting Instagram, your Facebook, your Gmail, or what. The first thing you do, you have to submit your credentials, right? So after you submit your credentials, the server is going to confirm your credentials you have submitted. Okay, it says like this is our user, right? So after that, the server is going to establish what's called the session. That session, it's normally called like session cookies. Let's call it cookies. That's the name they gave it. So those session cookies the server gave you, they're like an ID identifying like this user that he is already authenticated. Those session cookies, they are being saved into the web browser you are using, so that the next time you are going to visit that website or the page, it is not going to authenticate you unless that session ID had expired. Because if you are a developer and then you haven't implemented those security measures to make sure your session ID have some time to get expired, that's not good practice at all. So here you can see why session hijacking is useful. So here you can see it comes from like absence of account lockout for invalid session ID and weakness session ID generation algorithm. Maybe you are generating the session ID with the weak algorithm, maybe according to the random numbers, right, from like the date. That's kind of like the weak algorithm you can use, so that, in other words, from this weak session ID generation algorithm, it can be predictive. An attacker can predict what's next, and I hope you're understanding it. So indefinite session timeout, I just told you that as the developer have to make sure your session IDs you are giving the user have to get time to be expired, right? So by not wasting much time, let's jump to the business, right? So because we are not going to be reading all of this, so let me give you like an overview of what is a cookie and those things of session ID, but they are the same, don't get confused. So let me open up my browser here. So for example, here let me select this work, right? So for example, let's take this GitHub example because it's the one we'll be using today. So as you can see here, I'm inside my GitHub, right? So you guys, you visit, you give me some likes, and you follow all my stuffs I've done there. So we'll be using extension called cookie editor, so that is going to extract those session cookies from our browser so that we can play along with it. So the extension is called cookie editor. You can go to the web store, like Chrome web store, Chrome web store if I'm not wrong. So and then here you can search for cookie editor, right? But once you have to pick, not that you have to pick this one, not this. For me, I just like this one because it's a kinda simple and easy to use. So this one, let's click on it, and then let's add this on our Chrome. So as you can see, it's have been added. Turn on synchronization. I don't want synchronization. So as you can see here, we have already installed the cookie editor, right? So let's extract the session ID the GitHub gave us, so that we pick it, we go try to another web browser, so that which doesn't have this session cookie. So we see how they kindly operate. So I go to my cookie editor, this one. So you see it's asking me which site, if I have many sites on my tab to extract. So I'll select only this site, and then let me give you that permission. So and then after is this one I'm using. So you can see here, let me try to go to my profile a little bit. So here is my profile. So let me open up the cookie editor, and then I try to export them. So the way I want to export them, I will select JSON format. You see it's been copied. So the first thing we are going to do, let's open up the new Windows, and then we select like this test. For example, in this test, sorry for that, in this test, let's go to GitHub, right? GitHub, and then we see how we can try to import those session cookies we exported from another web browser, so that you can import them inside here, and we see if we'll be able to log into GitHub without being asked for the password and username. So seems like my internet is kind of slow. Yeah, you see we are ready to go. So first thing I will do here, before let me do like sign in here, so I can come here to my cookie editor, and then I try to see like this site. Let me allow. So and again, let's import the cookies we copied from that site. But so let me import them, right? You see that they are imported. So and then after I refresh, see it's telling me, yeah, you don't have any session cookies there. So maybe we didn't take them. So let me use this cookie editor. So let me copy my session ID. So let me copy it. See it's copied. So I'll come back here, and then inside my cookie editor I try to import the session ID from another browser, so we see if you can be able to log into without being asked for the username and password, so we can bypass it, right? So you can see here we have successfully imported them. So after I refresh it, let's give it some time. Yeah, you can see here we were able to log into without being asked for the username and password by simply using session IDs. So, and I hope you understand it. So what next we are going to do, we are going to see how we can use advanced tool to create some phishing links so that you can send to like victim. But disclaimer, this is for educational purpose, and don't want you guys to do anything malicious or cyber crimes, but like have like an overview, gain some skills, right? So as you can see, and I hope you understand how cookies they behave inside the system. So let's get started. So I'll be using a tool called Evilginx, right? So let me try to increase my screen a little bit. So for you guys, if you want to get started, you can type sudo apt install as usual. Evilginx2, right? There is Evilginx1, Evilginx2, Evilginx3, and there is Evilginx Pro, which you have to pay for to be able to use it, right? And it have a lot of features, right? Even if to generate what's called fishlets we are going to get into it, right? So let me put my password there. You see it's already installed for me. So let me clear my screen. So I will do sudo Evilginx2, and then we see the help menu, what we have there. So as you can see, we can configure the directory path, enable debug output, and we can use Evilginx in developer mode. So that we'll be using self-signed certificate, right? These self-signed certificates, their certificates we will generate ourselves, because this Evilginx is kind of behaving as the proxy, right? For people who are not understanding the proxy server, what is the proxy server? It's kind of like a server between you as the person who want to browse to the server and the actual server. Means that it's in a middle, right? Before you reach on the actual server, you have to first pass through the proxy server, and then you reach to the server. And that proxy is it's the one which and get out. So the proxy server, as you know, it's in a middle. It's in a middle between you and the actual server you want to browse. So for us to be able to perform this attack, we'll be needing like a domain name, and because we don't have domain name, we will simply use our local. We'll be running this locally. That's why we're going to use developer mode, right? So you will be using our local hosts. Sorry for that, I think it's hosts. So we'll be using like this local hosts, right? So let me clear that, and I hope you're understanding it. So sudo Evilginx, and then we use developer mode because we don't have the actual domain name or like a VPS running, right? So I'll be using our local lab for like a proof of concept, right? So here what we are going to do, we are going to try to generate like a malicious link which will be able to capture like the session cookies from the users, so it can even help us to bypass like those multi-factor authentications and OTP. That's what we are going to see. But before we go, you have to understand what's called fishlets. These fishlets, they are kind of like fishlets. These fishlets, they are kind of like a website template. If you want to use this tool of Evilginx, you need the file called fishlets, which is kind of like a site template, right? It have subdomain of that site. So For us, we'll be targeting GitHub. Let's go to this directory of this person called unknown 4. I'm not remembering the name, it's kind of even if not easy. Unknown 4, fishlates, GitHub. There is a lot of templates we can use. Okay, this is the first. You have to click on this first link. So as you can see here, we have different website templates. We have Amazon, eBay, Facebook, GoDaddy, even if Google account, Hotmail, even if iCloud, Instagram, even if TikTok. There are many, even if Outlook. So whatever template you can want to use, many of them they are here. So for us, we'll be targeting GitHub. So our fishlet template is over here. You just normally click on it. Oh, I clicked on Google, right? So we want to grab the GitHub one. So what you guys you have to do, you have to copy raw file. See, it's copied. So what you have to do, let me open up another tab. I go into the repository called user share in here, and then Evilginx fishlates, right? So if I list out, you can see I already have github.yaml file. You have to download that file, and then you can simply create it here, github.yaml, and then you paste out what you copied there from the GitHub rows, right? So, and let me bring it back. So, and here, as you can see in our fishlates, we have the proxy host, right? The domain we are targeting is a GitHub, and we have its subdomain, right? Phishing sub, which are like subdomain. So what you have to do, you have to go into, we have to configure those that the domain name and subdomain of these fishlates and our target on our local host, right? So we go to etc. Sorry for that. And etc is host 5. Oh, okay. So I forgot to put what I want to do. For example, here you can see this is the domain I'll be using. You have to be good in social engineering, so you can try to, if you are dealing with GitHub, you have to make a link, or you buy the domain which will convince the user to click on that link. If it's a GitHub sec, or you try to mimic GitHub, right? So, and then on other parts you can see here, I put like those subdomain from the fishlates. Let me bring them back. Yeah, those subdomain, you can see we have API and the GitHub. You have to put them into your etc host, right? And the domain we'll be using is this, and I hope we are now ready to go. What you have to do in our Evilginx, right? So first thing we have to do is to configure. You have to let me clear to make the screen look well. So what you have to do when you reach into your Evilginx, you have to do config domain, and then we'll be using which domain? We'll be using githubsec.net is the domain we'll be using. But if you have the actual domain and you have the running VPS, you can use that, right? So you see I've configured my domain, and then other thing we have to do is to configure the IPv4 you'll be using. For us, we'll be using our local host. That's where our proxy will be running. So, and here you can put the IP address of your VPS or your public IP which have this domain name on it. So you see we have configured that. So another thing we have to do, let's check for the fishlets we have. Fishlets, right? You can see on list of fishlets we have this example: GitHub, Google, Instagram, and TikTok. So we'll be using this one of GitHub. You can see that it's disabled. So the thing we have to do next is to do fishlets, right? And then you configure the host name, and then our fishlets will be GitHub is the one you want to use, and our host name, it will be githubsec.net, githubsec, did I write it well? githubsec.net, right? So, and after I can see that they're telling me this fishlet of GitHub is disabled. So what I have to do is to enable it. Do I have to write fishlets enable? So let's enable that fishlet of GitHub. So let's enable that GitHub, right? You see now the GitHub is enabled. So if I type again fishlets, right, you can see now we have the GitHub enabled, and the host name should be using is GitHub sec. So now we are ready to go. The one thing we have to do, we have to use what called lures to create like those phishing link or malicious links we can use to send to the victim. So what we have to do next is typing lures create GitHub, right? Because it's the fishlets we have used, right? So you can see that the lure created this, and with this ID of 11. What you have to do to get the URL you can send to the person, you have to use lures and get URL, which will be the link, and then you pass the ID there. And after, you can see we got our ID, which is GitHub sec, and what this link you can copy it and then you send it to the person, right? So let me copy that. Let me open up my Firefox, right? So I can paste that there. So let's wait for it to load. So but let's check for our, so you can see here we have some errors. Some errors cannot establish like handshake with actual github.com because we don't have the actual certificates. Once you are using through HTTP, it's self-signed. We don't have the actual certificate from any authority. So you can see here our connection failed, right? So let me open up that. So here you see that error, don't scare you, it's because we have self-signed certificates, right? So if I load that, you see here we got our login panel, but you see it doesn't have any kind of design or loading some CSS or what. It's because of security measure called is it called CSP policy? Yeah, I think it's this one, which is content security policy, which strongly against some variance and word. So this CSP is the one which is preventing us to be able to load those JavaScript libraries of front end, right? So but this is the actual GitHub. We are already talking to the GitHub right through our proxy. As you can see here into our log, you can see that we have a lot of errors because we cannot do like full connection with the github.com because we don't have the certificates, right? So what we have to do next is to put some credentials there. Let me put my username SargeB250, right? So, and if I try to put like the wrong password, for you guys to see that this is the actual GitHub page, you can see we have the incorrect username and password, right? And if I try again, if you didn't see it, it's going to send this error. This is incorrect username and password. So if I come here and then I put the actual password, I was going to say it. I hope you are good, guys. So as you can see, we are able to go to pass that, but we still have what's called two-factor authentication, right? So, and as I told you before, if we are able to capture like the session cookies, we don't need to be authenticated, and we can bypass this two-factor authentication. So this is the normal user who you sent like this link of githubsec.net, and after, what I have to do, I have to check my email on my phone. I have to check my email, and then I put those digits. Actually they are 77952, right? So if I verify, I think we'll be ready to be inside the GitHub, right? So as you can see, we are inside the GitHub, but we don't have all of those designs because of this kind of content security policy, which is preventing us to load those JavaScript libraries on our browser because we don't have the valid certificates. You see here, we haven't completed the actual handshake with the GitHub server, right? So as you can see here, I'm inside my GitHub. This is my profile picture, as you remember. So what I have to do, let me don't grab cookies from here. Let's get back to our Evilginx. As you can see, our Evilginx was able to take like our first credentials, which was incorrect, and then it captured another one we passed there, which was incorrect, and down here I believe we see like the actual username and password there. So, and then you may be wondering, where is those cookies, right? You can see we have authorization tokens intercepted. We are able to capture them. We have intercepted them, and if you remember well, here this bad boy down here is an attacker who is going to sniff those traffic to intercept those session cookie. That's what have been done here. You can see here we have authorization token intercepted. So what we have to do now, our job is done, is simply typing what is the sessions do we have here on sessions, right? So you can see we have different sessions which we have captured some credentials. So which one? I think is this 10, which have this ID. If you remember, to grab some session cookies, how the cookies we captured, tab sessions 11, right? So as you can see here, we have the cookies we captured, right? So what I have to do is copying all of them, right? And then I have to convert them to the the actual JSON format for me to be able to pass it. Let me close this tab. Let me open up the browser, oh my gosh, but you have already copied them, right? So let me open up which one. let me open up like this one, right? So what you have to do, as you can see, we have our cookies compiled, but they are not ready to go so that we can be imported. Here is the cookies of the user we got from there. So let me minimize it. So what I have to do here, I have to search for the tool which is going to help me to convert the text to the JSON format, right? So let me use this JSON Studio over here. So what I have to do, I have to paste those cookies, I mean those text we copied from our Evilginx. So and then I will click here to, let's wait for this tool to do its job to convert those text into like good JSON format, right? You see, we are ready to go, right? So what I have to do is copying them. I hope now it's copied. Let me minimize this browser, then let me open up like a new window which is kind of like a fresh, right? So let's try to go to GitHub, because we already captured cookies from the user. We intercepted them. Let's try to go to GitHub and then we see if this one I'm already in. Let me close this one and then let me create like a new window. Yeah, right. Let me create like a fresh one for you to see like the proof of concept, right? So what I have to search is GitHub, but first let me go to Chrome Store to download our extension to import those cookies. But in a moment you might be searching for the GitHub, right? Yeah, Chrome Web Store. So we'll be searching for cookie editor, right? Let's search for that. So I'll grab this one, is my favorite. So wait for it to be installed so I can add this extension on my Chrome. So turn on synchronization. I don't want to turn on it, so I think now it's already there. So also we have to go to the GitHub, not Git, because it's the one we targeted. So, and as you can see here on our github.com, we are going to import the cookies we captured from that user, our test user. So I select this site, right? So and then we import them to see if we'll be able to log into this system without being asked for the username and password, and also bypass that multi-factor authentication. So all I have to do is to import and then I paste. If you remember well, you remember the cookies we just copied from Evilginx, and then so you guys, what you have to do next is copying like these cookies over here, right? And then we bring back to the GitHub here, and then inside our cookie editor, you remember these cookies, that are the one we captured from our user. So what I have to do is to import them, right? So if I click import, you can see like cookies were imported. So what I have to do, I have to refresh this so that I'll be able to get into GitHub without being authenticated. So as you can see, boom, right? We are able to bypass OTP with just using cookies. So for you guys, it's your time to click that subscribe button so that you don't miss other like updates and new topics. So, and I hope this show was good. Thank you. So, and I have the full course for cybersecurity beginners, from beginner to the advanced level. So if you want to join, you can email me or contact me. The contact information, they are down in description. So the training is going to start this August. Don't miss out. This is your chance. Stay in touch, right?